The choir will perform a reading from the essay Walking by Linda Hogan, from Dwellings, A Spiritual History of the Natural World. Linda Hogan is a member of the Chickasaw Nation, a poet, playwright, storyteller, and environmentalist. Sometimes I hear it talking. The light of the sunflower was one language, but there are others, more audible.
Once, in the redwood forest, I heard a beat, something like a drum or heart coming from the ground and trees and wind. That underground current stirred a kind of knowing inside me, a kinship and longing, a dream barely remembered that disappeared back to the body.
Another time, there was the booming voice of an ocean storm thundering from far out at sea, telling about what lived in the distance, about the rough water that would arrive, wave after wave, revealing the disturbance at the center.
Tonight, I walk. I'm watching the sky. I think of the people who came before me and how they knew the placement of stars in the sky. Watch the moving sun long and hard enough to witness how a certain angle of light touched the stone only once a year. Without written records, they knew every night the small, fine details of the world around them and of the immensity above them.
Walking, I can almost hear the redwoods beating. And the oceans are above me here, rolling clouds heavy and dark, considering snow. On the dry, red road, I pass the place of the sunflower, that dark and secret location where creation took place. I wonder if it will return this summer, if it will multiply and move up to the other stand of flowers in a territorial struggle.
It's winter, and there is smoke from the fires. The square, lighted windows of houses are fogging over. It is a world of elemental attention, of all things working together, listening to what speaks in the blood.
Walking, I am listening to a deeper way. Suddenly, all my ancestors are behind me. Be still, they say. Watch and listen.
You are the result of the love of thousands.
Linda Hogan invites us to hear our ancestors not just as our human lineage, but as the trees and the sunflowers, the stirring of the ocean. To remember how many of our generations of ancestors knew the earth with such intimacy that they knew where the sunbeams would land on a certain hour of a certain day, that they could read the waves, that they knew the shifting of the seasons long before most of us know them now. There is new evidence to suggest that the ancestors of our dogs may have initiated contact with humans and invited the collaboration that became domesticated dogs. So maybe we have wolf ancestors too, tending those human lives in the past. So also humans who communicated with wolves. Our present moment is so tumultuous in 1,000 ways, including the fact that we are more and more aware that many of our ancestors, both our immediate ancestors and some of our more ancient ancestors, were at best flawed and at worst wildly destructive. And still they are our ancestors. And we are learning to hold that as part of who we are. And we must, as my colleague says, bear the burden of what they could not see. As we live through this era of awakening, of reckoning, and fighting with our ancestors' choices, it is a great gift and a spiritual strength to remember that the circles of the ancestors are much wider than our human ancestors, much wider than our great, 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 great human grandparents. It includes the wolves who made partnerships with humans so long ago. It includes the apple trees that are ancestors to us because they fed so many. And the oak trees too, with their wood and the acorns that have fed so many species, including the humans who learned how to get the toxins out of the acorn and nourish themselves. And so the same is true for wild blueberries. They're our ancestors too. The spring in the hillside from which so many drank and had life. That too is our ancestor, offering life to those who came before and passing life to us. So draw the circle wide, claim and be claimed. And claim in that wide circle all of your ancestors, the sweet and the beloved, the distant and the harsh, the muddled and the mysterious. You do not bear this story alone.